You are listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, New York.
Everybody, welcome back to Half Past Dead Paranormal Radio, the Paranormal and Strange. We are here live on WCJB Digital Broadcasting out of Youngstown, New York. I'm your host, Roger Belt, and my partner, Mr. Hank Stratton.
He's here somewhere.
Yeah, say hello,
Hello.
Hank.
How you doing? Hello, Hank. Hey.
Hey, people, we have a great group on here. We have Trip Paranormal on here tonight, and without any further ado, let's get Nate on here. And I'm sorry I forgot the lady's name.
Kelly.
I'm really bad about that. I'm sorry. Like I was saying, I was wondering, how you guys how did you get into this? How did you get started?
Well, I started the group back in 2008. I actually purchased a home in Hastings, Nebraska, and at the time, I had experiences growing up, but I was, I guess you could say, I wanted more proof, kind of a skeptic. And as time went on, after I moved in, stuff started happening, like doors opening and closing, seeing an actual figure, footsteps, things getting thrown.
Power tools.
Yeah, like power tools turning on and by themselves. Just different things like cupboard doors opening and hearing voices and whatnot. And that's kind of what started it all. And I started setting up my own audio recorders and video recorders and putting it out there and doing hours and hours of research and studying just to get answers for myself. And then some other opera houses in the state of Nebraska actually called and asked us if we would be interested in investigating there because their staff members were scared and were quitting because of the activity, and so TRIP was formed.
That's awesome. Did you ever have during that time any like hands-on activity where something would touch you or
I got scratched in the house. I've had like my shirt's been pulled.
Didn't you have like pressure on your chest as well at night?
Yeah, there'd be times where I'd be sleeping and I'd wake up and it felt like somebody literally was basically sitting or pushing on my chest, and then you'd wake up and it would just go away. There'd be nothing there.
That's crazy because that's one of the claims on the investigation that we've got coming up. The lady showed me bruises that she would go to bed and she would wake up with these bruises on her. She had them on her legs, on her arms, and she don't know how they got there.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And now one of the really creepy things is her daycare, their little girl's daycare. I want to call her a teacher. I guess she teaches up there or whatever.
Basically,
told me that the little girl came up to her and told her that she felt really bad and she just wanted it to leave her alone.
Oh, wow.
So we're gearing up for no telling what we're liable to run into, but those.
It sounds like it'll be fun. It'll be a good investigation.
Yeah, I just worry about them kids though. That's number one.
Yeah, families, I agree. Family and kids come first.
Okay.
I was just going to say, we got a question, Roger.
Someone's asking, is Nate and Katie's house old? And if it is, how old?
Oh, well, it's Kaylee.
Kaylee.
house.
Got me doing it, Roger.
It's not
that old.
It's not that old.
I think it's 2007
Yeah.
when it was built, so not that old. But as you all know, as paranormal investigators, it doesn't matter. You could have a brand new house you just built yourself. It just depends on the land that you built on, artifacts in the house maybe, or just history of what was there before you were there. I know there was actually 2 owners before us that lived in the house, and as far as what went on, it's still up in the air.
Roger? Anyway, okay. Toby's also asking if there's a possibility that there are earthbounds there. Have you found that out? What is the history of your property?
Well, I do know that there's there's been several people that have lived in here, and after going and doing some research at the city, they basically told me to drop it and to leave it alone. And I was doing some remodeling in the house and actually was ripping out the bathroom floor when I came across what looked like a huge pool of blood. And I had a couple friends that are police officers. They came over, they tested it, confirmed that it was. So when I went to the city office and asked, who lived there before and what went on, all they could tell me is there's a person or a family that was listed as private, and they wouldn't give me any information at all. Even on the taxes, it was private, and the deeds, everything. And then they actually told me to drop it and leave it alone and to leave their office. So I'm pretty sure that somehow something happened to the past owner, and there's a lot of other stuff in there too. And my friends that were police officers, they did some looking as well, and there's reports. They've had some disturbance calls to the house, but there's some time, basically the times don't match up. There's like papers missing.
Roger, you there? Oh, it's going to be a wonderful day. So, now I'm going through, and I'm seeing through your pages, you've got your what, like six members strong.
Yep.
About right?
Yeah.
Can you do a beef? Hello, where's the beef? Yeah. Can you do a brief background on your members?
Well, all of our members, I mean, they've all been trained. Oh. They all do different stuff, or during the day. They all have different day jobs, but I mean, we got Dee, there's Shayla, there's Sue, me, Kaylee, and we have a couple others that'll be, I guess Nick and Chantel on there, but they're just part-time as of right now. So, but other than that, I mean, everybody does kind of their own thing during the day, but at night they're great investigators, and we travel all over the United States to investigate.
I was asking you, and you didn't hear me because some idiot had his mic muted.
I'm not
I told you about that.
No.
Was there a house there before the house that's there now on that property?
No, after doing research on it, there was no house here at that time. It was just open land, and it was owned by a local college. Okay.
I was just wondering, because sometimes, you can have attachments to a previous home that burned or, was destroyed or whatever. It can still have attachments there that will help herself to a new house.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I know that there one of the past owners' children did a lot of stuff in the house, like, stuff with like Ouija boards, all kinds of different.
Okay.
That might be play a role, a part of it too. I'm not for sure.
Probably a lot of it.
Yeah, it's a good chance.
One thing I think's interesting about the house that he lived in Hastings, and that's actually different from the one he lives in now, that we were talking about earlier, but the one in Hastings that was filmed for A&E, actually when A&E came out, they tried to do more research themselves over and beyond what Nate could find as being a network, and they actually told A&E to leave it alone as well, and they tried to stop the filming of My Ghost Story in Hastings because they didn't want it aired.
They didn't want it aired?
Yeah, the city of Hastings didn't want it aired, and they tried to stop it.
Okay.
So,
there's some sort of cover-up going on there when the city doesn't even want people coming in to tell the story of the house.
Right. Well, we were talking about, the couple that I was interviewing today. They seem to think that there's something behind their house. There's like a tree line. It's not, like a woods or anything. It's just like one line of trees that goes across there, and then there's a cornfield in the back. And they seem to think that this thing came from there. And,
really?
And I was trying to explain to them, well, hey, it's a possibility if, because there's so many graves that are not marked that, from years and years ago. And there could have easily been somebody buried there that was disturbed by tractors or whatever disking up their grave, to plant corn.
Yeah.
It may sound crazy, but it's a possibility, And they were like, well, we never thought of that. I said, well, also, Native Americans were all around here. And it could very easily be, a Native American graves there or something that was disturbed. And they do get into some pretty crazy mojo. So if you stir one of them up, you probably got a big problem on your hands.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I'm going through your Facebook here, and I'm looking for any noted investigations that you've had. Anything that really, really pops?
Yeah, we did one at the Wildwood House in Nebraska City. This was, about a month ago.
Yeah, about a month ago.
And, we've done others since then. We're currently filming for a TV network, so we can't release a few of the locations. But we'll talk about the wild one first.
So you are you are a production crew?
Well, we're working. Well, we do our own production, but we also are working with a major network as well.
Wouldn't be sci-fi, would it?
It wouldn't be sci-fi. It wouldn't be sci-fi, would it?
I can't say. Unfortunately, I can't say.
Well, you have posted on your webpage your connection to My Ghost Story on A&E.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's common knowledge.
I've done that one already. That one I can. That's open. That aired actually in September. It'll be a year ago that it aired.
What was the name of that one?
A Warning.
Because I used to watch that show like clockwork. I was a loyal fan, I guess.
It was episode number 2 in the 4th. I think it was the 4th or 5th season, whichever I think it was the 4th. I think it was 4th or 5th season, whichever the last one was. There had so many of them, but if you go, I know, like if you go on direct, I mean, if they still play them, I know they're currently doing something else. 'Cause I talk with the producers a lot and the film crew, and they're actually got a new show that'll be coming out here soon too. Something different than my ghost story.
Huh, okay. Now, that show used to air on the Bio channel.
Yep.
And there was some more that, because I used to watch them all in a row. There was that one, and there was Celebrity Ghost Stories, I think, and there was another one I cannot think of the name of for some reason. But there was like 3 or 4 in a row that they played, and I watched them like on Friday night, I think. And of course, I watched them every week for a long time.
Yeah, the episodes were always every Friday.
And then it's like they just disappeared for a little bit. I couldn't find them. And
yeah, they're done. They finished up with my ghost story. They aired all the last episodes of it, and now they're currently in production, actually overseas for a new series.
And what do you know the name of that show, or?
No, the guys I was talking with, they never told me the name. They just told me that it's basically going to take the spot of the My Ghost Story.
I'm going to throw this in there. It has nothing to do with ghost stories, but overseas, I mean, when you get into horror films, for instance, what is it about the Chinese can do some, if you could understand what they're saying, I'm sorry, but they do some great horror films.
Yeah. Yeah, they can.
If you can get it in an English version where you can understand what they're saying, but the plot and the story is great.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty neat.
It is. My daughter loves them. She watches them all the time, and because I watch a lot of horror stuff myself, and she's like, "You ought to watch these Chinese horror films. They're even better than ours."
Just out of curiosity, Roger, are you talking about movies like The Grudge or The Grudge?
That there was another one too. I can't think of it off the top of my head right this second, but it was like along with that one.
So sorry, Charlie. That was Japanese.
Well, anyway, Asian, so to speak.
Okay, I'll go along with that one.
Let me change that to Asian then. Okay. Okay, Asian horror films are
Nate,
pretty good.
Nate, I finally made it up here to your web page, and I like that second part of your web page because you've got some cool music when you first open up your web page, but then we're online here, so that kind of drowns out what we're trying to talk about. And I'm reading over here about your no, I don't want to join a team here. You're going back your homepage and all. Your collection of EVPs.
Yeah.
What was the weirdest one you ever got a hold of?
Ooh. Well, actually, my very first one on that house in Hastings that I was talking about, that was on A&E, that one's under the EVP page there. It's called More Toward a Haunting. That one was the very first EVP I've ever caught. And it gave me chills, to be honest, because I was the only one that was home, and I was downstairs and just asked a few questions, and I'd been down there 20 minutes. Decided to hit play and go back through it, and I heard that and didn't expect to catch that. So that'd have to be one of my top ones. I mean, I have a few others as well.
It's the ones that I've had some of them and they're kind of really low, and you have to amplify them to get them to where you can hear what they're saying. But when you actually do hear what they're saying, it's like it makes your skin crawl.
Yes, it's like you don't expect it. And but yet it's so awesome at the same time because you're like, and then that's when you listen to it by like 20 more times, and then you let someone else listen and be like, tell me what you hear, and then when they hear it, you're just in shock. Makes you want to go out and investigate that second.
I did an investigation at my daughter's apartment here in town one time because they claimed they were seeing a shadow figure running around in and out and here and there. And so they asked me if I would come over there and investigate with them. I said, okay. So we get over there, and you can tell sometimes when you walk in a place, you can feel something, but, you know, it's not producing any activity, but you know something's there. And that's kind of the way I was. I felt like, you know, I can feel an energy here. There's something around here, but it's just not playing. So I kind of started provoking a little bit, which I don't do a lot of, but I did then. And we walked to like the end of the hallway. They have a little bathroom, or had, off to the right. And then, you know, that's the very end of the hallway. Well, we had went in there because he said they had a candle. They had left that day, and the candle was on the kitchen table, and it was not lit. And when they came home, it was on the bathtub, and it was lit. So we had went in there, and he was showing me that, you know, and we come out, and I said, okay, where the hell you hiding at? And a little bit later, we was sitting off in there, we was smoking a cigarette, taking a break, you know, and I played it back. Right after I said that, it said, right behind you. And it had like this evil little laugh to it at the end, you know, and I'm like, wow, that's so cool. My daughter's like,
I'm trying to read. I'm trying to read what Toby had sent me. Hank, love the EVP from Ording on Saturday night. We were doing a training investigation. We were doing a training at the Ording Cemetery, and apparently Toby didn't get me that EVP. Out here at the Washington Soldier Cemetery, we've had some rather comical EVPs. The FU one. Yeah, we can't exactly use that one on the air. Thank you.
well, I mean, the EVP, and the thing about EVPs is you can get EVPs just about anywhere. I mean, you wouldn't even be expecting it, and you can still pick them up. And that, to me, tells me that spirits are just all over the place. You know, it doesn't have to be a haunted location or a reported haunted location, or, you know, you're going to the most haunted house in New York or anywhere else, you know. And we proved that at my daughter and them's house out in the country. We were out in the yard and we were talking. I had a recorder going, and I said, okay, we're going up here. Y'all can come with us, but you can't stay. And then we had one that said, I ain't staying, and that one was out loud. And we had another one that said, I belong here. So, I mean, just goes to show EVPs, you can get them virtually anywhere. It's just what they say that blows you away.
So we're still running. We're not on break yet. Okay.
No, about 6 minutes.
Cool. We've got plenty of time. Nate, do you have any, lack of a better word, do you have any psychics on your team?
No, I don't have any psychics, but I mean, I have members who can sense things, you know, like they kind of, I guess, more sensitive. They get that uneasy feeling, a little more sensitive than others, you could say.
That's a level of psychic.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
I mean, when we talk about psychic, we don't necessarily mean, oh Lord, I hate to use the term, like the Long Island medium, Teresa, whatever her name is. Psychic can be anything. As in my example, I am an empath, but I also have other psychic abilities, but that's basically my claim to fame, if you will. Even a sensitive, that qualifies as a psychic or a level of psychic, even though it is a sensitive.
Yeah, actually, I'm an empath.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm an empath and I'm a sensitive, and I can walk into a building or a home and know immediately if there's energy there, if it's positive energy, if it's negative energy, if there's something bad there, if it feels like good energy, there's just something there. I can tell that. So I guess that's probably about as close to what we have, and Nate's actually pretty intuitive himself. He just doesn't like to admit it.
Well, that's the important part. Not so much admitting it, but being able to use it.
Yes.
CJ was asking how many is on the team and what are the jobs?
Well, we have a bunch of different, investigators. We have some camera people. We also have a command post. That's pretty much everybody, really.
The main thing is Nate and myself, Kaylee, and Dee do the lead investigations usually, and Sue and Shayla do our command post or center post where we have the DVR set up and all the camera systems. And then we have a cameraman part-time actually that's just in training, so they're not on the website yet. But we're hoping to get them full-time. And then as far as that goes, when we don't have a camera person there, Dee and Nate and I kind of take turns following each other around with it for as far as filming goes.
And if you wanted to see some of those of our recent clips, also you guys seen tripparanormal.com, but check out tripparanormalproductions.com, and there's some trailers right there on the homepage that you can see.
I knew there was something I forgot. I saw it and I accidentally just right over the head. Sorry about that.
You're bad, Hank.
Well, like I said, the old gray hair just ain't what it used to be.
Okay, y'all, we're getting ready to come up on a break. We're still live on WCJV Digital Broadcasting out of Youngstown, New York. We're going to take a couple-minute break. We'll be right back. Don't nobody go away.
You are listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, New York.
Okay, everybody, we're back. Hank had to run to get him something to drink. He'll be here shortly. Real quick, I'm going to mention this. My buddy R.L. Demery there, him and a couple of his friends have a show on Blog Talk that's called Paranormal Gallery. So, everybody do us all a favor. Go by there when you can. Check them out. Show them a little pair of love. Now, where were we? When you, I'm pretty sure that you probably captured quite a bit of video evidence. Everybody wants to get the Holy Grail. You know what I'm talking about. You know, the full blown apparition. Have you ever done that?
We've gotten some really good evidence over the years. I mean, we've gotten a couple figures on camera, video footage, and also with thermal and I guess DVR systems. And
I think I did see a thermal image on your Facebook page and some of that stuff when I was looking through there. There was one that I looked in, and it had a image of a person standing in a hallway, and it was through a thermal.
Yeah, that was actually at the a steamboat that we investigated.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was in the captain's quarters, and we are actually going down the hall of the steamboat, and Dee yelled out, "All hands on deck," and we heard some running down the hallway, and so we went to investigate. So we actually thought someone was in the boat messing with us because we knew no one was in there, and we both went, split up in two separate directions and went around in the circle, and no one was there. And then we caught that image on thermal right by the captain's quarters. So we're kind of assuming that's the captain that was there.
That's what it sounds like.
If you had the chance, and I know you've heard the story about the steamboat with the lady captain. Her ghost has been seen on the ship supposedly, and stuff happened in the captain's quarters that they couldn't explain. If you had the chance to investigate, I don't even know if that steamboat's even still around anymore. Yeah, I think it is actually, but I would love to investigate that one. I'm sure y'all would too.
That would be.
What was her name? I'm just can't get a grip on it. I know it, and I just can't think of it. Her husband was a pilot, and then she became a pilot, and then after he passed away, she ran the boat for so many years, and then she passed away, I think, in the captain's quarters, if I'm not mistaken. I wish I could think of her name. Because I read a lot of this stuff. I'll go to documentaries and I'll read different stuff about haunted locations and everything, and that was just one of them that I had watched a video on. And I was thinking it'd be really interesting to go on that steamboat and actually capture her image maybe.
Yeah, that would be neat. I'd love to investigate that. It'd be fun. Take all the equipment in there and see what we could catch.
I have a question for you from one of our chat room guests, Johnny. Have you ever gotten an EVP that asked for help?
Yeah, we have.
Several
of them. I'm sure everybody's heard of the Villisca ex-murder house.
Right.
Well, we've been there, and we actually went out to the grave site, and we were asking. Well, we went out there to just kind of pay our respects, and then just kind of took some audio along and just asking a few questions, and we actually have two EVPs from there of a guy saying, "Help," and then
a lady saying, "Help me, help me." And it was right after we said, we realized, we're so sorry about what happened to you and your family, and we would love to, we know your murder has never been caught, so we'd love to help you in any way. And then right after that is when we got those EVPs of help and help me, help me.
And also at the same time that was happening, I mean, we actually had, and this was, say, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we actually had a camera going as well, and we had what looks like an orb come out of one of the family member's gravestone and goes over and goes into the other one the same time that audio was caught. And it was orange. I mean, there was no reflection from the sun. I mean, I'm not a big, I believe in orbs, but they have to be, solid and have their own certain pattern to them for me to say, basically for our team to.
Not everything is an orb, but you have orbs.
Right. CJ asked, have you seen any shadow people?
Oh, yeah. I've seen some shadow people. I have photos of it as well, a couple of them. And we actually got some today. We went out to an old cemetery just to check it out beforehand before we go and do an investigation there. And
it's actually one of the most haunted cemeteries in Nebraska. And we've been asked several times to come out, and we've been asked by not only fans, but actually the sheriff's department and the county. And so we finally went out today just to kind of do a pre-check it over before we go at night for the investigation. And we actually caught 2 different shadow figures on film.
Yeah, it was insane.
So you are working with local law enforcement?
Yeah, oh yeah, they've contacted us several different times and asked us to check this out, because if they get a call to go out there because maybe some kids are out there, partying or messing around or whatever, they won't go in there. They won't go into the cemetery. They'll sit outside of it and shine their lights and wait for people to leave, so that they won't go in on foot due to the activity.
Due to the paranormal activity.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, Jiminy Christmas.
Yeah, it's pretty intense, and just to be asked by one of the big sheriff's departments in this area of the state that we live in is pretty awesome. I mean, we've been asked. I mean, we've even gotten approval from the governor to go to the state capitol, and other places throughout the state too. So I mean, we're pretty well known in our home state.
What's interesting about this cemetery too, and I'm not really huge on cemeteries just because for the network alone, you actually have to get permission from each one of the cemetery grave families, which we all know you can't always necessarily contact them. Certain ones, especially ones that are that old, that date back into the 1800s. Another thing is you can't always block off the entire area, so you don't know if there's people hiding in the trees or messing with you or, what's going on. So, but this place is pretty cool. They actually say to have gravestones that fall over on their own and then put themselves back up.
And there's even ties. It's called the Rattlesnake Pete. He was supposed to be the fastest drawer, I guess you could say, at the time, and he's known to be seen walking the area and
hung out with Buffalo Bill Cody and
kind of hung out with a bunch of different people, and so there's a lot of history there, and also it's been reported that when you go out there you can hear gunshots, and actually we have audio of that today. Which
in the middle of the afternoon.
In the middle of the afternoon, which is insane because there's only one little house that's close by, but it's not where the gunshots came from. It was in the far one corner of the cemetery, and the cemetery's not that big, and it's surrounded by tons and tons of trees.
In the middle of a forest.
Yeah, you're basically out in the middle of a cornfield almost, but just put trees around it.
The cemetery's in the middle of a cornfield?
Well, pretty much the cornfield right by it. I mean, you drive by a cornfield to go into it, and then when you go around, you drive through like this, almost like a tunnel of trees, and you're like in a big grove of trees where this thing's at. And there's maybe, if I had to guess, I'd say 50, maybe, yeah, probably about 50 gravestones there, and that's it. And I mean, I think one of the oldest ones we've seen was like 1820, maybe.
Yeah.
1822, something like that.
I have another question for you.
Okay.
Do you do anything after your investigations to help prevent being followed home by spirits?
Yeah, each team member, each has their own beliefs, but we always, pretty much every member says some sort of a prayer, or a protection just to protect themselves against anything following them home.
Yeah, everyone kind of has their own little ritual, and I know personally I say something before I even walk into the property or the house, as well as being in there, and then again when I leave, just because you don't want to take that chance of someone following you home or taking over your energy, and because we've all had that happen before, and it's not fun to be completely drained of everything you have. So yeah, we all have our own little rituals we do of protection to protect ourselves.
We, as RIP team, we also we use the open and closing of the St. Michael prayer, but we had someone who made the mistake of saying, if anything is going to happen, let it happen to me. And he's no longer a member. He is afraid of being on any investigation now.
Oh, what happened?
He literally got slammed.
Oh wow!
Oh my God!
We have found a guardian at one of the cemeteries, and he took it as a challenge.
Oh, that's not good.
I miss my I miss Ron. He was my other co-founder, but that was the last real investigation he was on.
Wow.
And we've been back to the same cemetery, and we have had nothing but respect from the same guardian. Yeah, we give respect in return, but I have no clue what he had done to really... Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Well,
Yeah.
It reminds me of Zach Baggins. And y'all know who I'm talking about when I say Zach Baggins, okay?
The GAC boys, yes.
The infomercial that they show all the time about where they was at Bobby Mackey's, and he's standing there and he's like, if this is the portal of hell, come up here and get me. Dumb. Well, I ain't going to say I almost did. Yeah, the three-letter word. Ask and you shall receive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got to be careful what you provoke. That's for sure.
I'm going to ask this because I haven't answered. Johnny has asked another interesting question, and I'm going to... It's pronounced Bagans. All right. I'm going to ask you guys, because he's asked, are guardians common? For our experience, I would say yes. We've encountered different kinds. But what about you in your investigations?
I mean, I guess I don't know about a guardian that I've been, I guess, experienced, but I mean, I know I've interacted with, some sort of spirit that's been in the buildings and stuff, but I mean, we haven't really investigated very many cemeteries just because, like with TV and stuff like that, they don't want a lot of that shown because you have to have permission, like Haley was talking about, have permission from all the loved ones that are buried there in order for it to air on TV. Otherwise, you'll just have, during your whole investigation, it'll be nothing but everything will be blurry because they have to blur out everybody's name. So personally, we had never really, I think we've only investigated a total of like 2 to maybe 3 cemeteries out of all the years that we've been investigating.
I have to ask you this, and when I started thinking about it, I almost cracked up. Have you ever had, or anybody on your team ever had a dude run moment?
Oh, good Lord.
No, we never pulled a Brian.
I had to ask. I'm sorry.
No, we've been startled, but usually it's kind of like, oh, what was that, and then basically run to it, not run from it.
Exactly. But I saw that episode, and I laughed so hard, I tell you what, I had tears running down my face. I was laughing so hard. Dude, run.
That will go in the annals of time immemorial.
Yes, it will.
For
in the paranormal history books.
Oh, God, a dubious distinction.
Yeah, I went there.
I found we run to it type group.
Yeah, I guess we don't run.
That's my problem. I don't know when to go the other direction.
That's a hallmark of any paranormal investigation team. We go into it, not away from it.
Yeah, if you're going to run away, then obviously you might need to change your profession.
Exactly. But I never laughed so hard when I saw that episode where he done that.
Dude, run! Oh, that was good. Yeah.
And then, of course, after that, it wasn't long till he was with the ghost hunters overseas. It's like, we got to get him out of here.
Oh, yes, international. Uh-huh. Oh, good Lord. Annals. Okay, I mispronounced it. I've got a friend giving me a gentle ration of annals.
Into the annals.
Oh, yeah. There you go, Roger. Go ahead. And may I have more salt for the wound, please? Oh, is everybody having a good time now? Thank you. Okay.
We're not laughing at you, Hank. You know how the saying goes. We're laughing with you.
Yes, Mother.
Anyway, I had to bring up the dude run thing, but have you guys ever been to any of the places that ghost hunters went to?
Yeah, we've been to a few different places. I know, actually, I just got contacted by Sci-Fi the other day. We've been to the Glore Psychiatric Museum in St. Joe, Missouri, and Sci-Fi contacted us to ask basically what we experienced there, because Taft is planning on going there to investigate and film, so they kind of wanted to know what we got and what they could expect, I guess, during their investigation. So I guess they're going to where we've been, but I know we've been to, they actually been to a location in Hastings. They did some filming there, but it never aired on TV. And then also in Branson, Missouri, they've been to the Titanic Museum. We've been in there as well.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm still choking on our last go-round. I believe, Nate, you've answered this question, but it's been restated another way. What was the overall reaction, the the overall reaction from the owners when they asked a cemetery if they could investigate their property. I believe what he's asking is what was the overall reaction when you either were requested or you were going into a cemetery for an investigation.
We reacted.
Oh, I guess. Well, when we got asked by the city, I mean, I guess we were excited about it because there was an old caretaker's house there. So I mean, we were excited to get in there, and we were the only paranormal team ever to be in, into that building, and then let alone the only team to investigate that cemetery.
To be asked to go out
and
there.
to be asked to go out there, yeah. I mean, I just thought it's awesome.
Honor. Yeah.
I had something else I was going to ask you about before that came about, and it's like, the old gray hair just ain't what it used to be. Take it away, Roger.
I was going to say, I've only been to one place. I'm pretty sure Ghost Hunters went there. I know Zach Biggins went there to Waverly Hills. And that is an awesome place. Have y'all been there?
No, we haven't been there. I do know, I guess we'll be going to one of the places that, well, I guess several places that they've been. I mean, both teams, I guess Zach and the Ghost Adventures crew and Taps, but I mean, we have access to Alcatraz and a few other, like the Queen Mary and a few others as well, but that location, no, we haven't been there.
I got a couple of good EVPs when I was up there. One of them was in the morgue. They have like the two freezers in there where they would slide the bodies in on a tray or something. And, they only had the two, I guess. Of course, they were stacking bodies in the big freezers where the food was supposed to be. On account of all the deaths at the time. But when I was in there, I was slid up in one of the freezers, and I asked, was there anybody there with me? And I got a very plain, I'm with you answer back.
Oh, wow.
And then upstairs on the 5th floor, the nurse supposedly hung herself right outside of the little room where they aborted her baby. I don't even remember what I said, but I think I was directing my question to the nurse that supposedly hung herself. But the EVP that I got back was help me walk. And of course, anybody that knows about Waverly Hills, it was a tuberculosis hospital. They did all kind of crazy surgery and all different kind of stuff trying to cure these people, or that's what they claimed they were doing. Like they would remove ribs and all kind of stuff. So I could see where a person would have trouble walking. So I thought, well, yeah, that's a very valid EVP, because that could happen very easily.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like the Galore Psychiatric Museum. That's kind of what they did there. They did a lot of treatment on patients, and I guess I would say more towards torture than treatment. But
right. Well, now I know there was, because I read about that place before I went there, and they were cases where they would like stack sandbags on top of their chest trying to compress their lungs, I guess.
Ooh.
And that was one of the things that they did. They did lobotomies. They would remove ribs, trying to let the lungs, I guess, expand more so that they could breathe or whatever. I don't know. But, and they would sit them outside in the wintertime and it'd be snowing. Outside of the rooms, there's like a balcony deal there that goes all the way down this thing. And they would roll them out there in wheelchairs and cots and whatever, and just set them out there because the fresh air helped them more than anything else, I guess. And I actually saw pictures where they were sitting out there and the snow was coming in on them and everything.
Wow, that's crazy.
And they had told us, I think, that there was over 2,000 deaths there There's a cemetery there, but they wouldn't let us go to the cemetery. I don't know why. And when I was in the death tunnel, I have artery blockage in one leg, so walking's a little bit rough sometimes. So I only went like about halfway down the death tunnel there, and I sat down there and I was just doing EVP stuff. And another guy was with me, and he was snapping, shots down the end of the tunnel there. And I plainly heard, and this was out loud, it wasn't on my recorder, it didn't pick it up for some reason, heel to toe boot steps coming up from the bottom of that tunnel. I mean, you could hear it like, when it would hit, heel to toe. And I commented about it. He said, "Oh, that's the concrete settling. I've done concrete work for so many years. I know what it sounds like." I said, "Well, it don't sound like boot heels going heel to toe when it settles." But anyway, that's something that I heard out loud. And I know you're familiar with the death tunnel, right? Actually, the Booth brothers done the movie called The Death Tunnel, and that was where it was filmed at.
Really?
Anyway, it was originally used for bringing supplies into the building. But when the people started dying so fast, they wanted to get the bodies out in a hurry so that the ones that were still living wouldn't see how much death was going out of there. So they would take them, they rigged up some kind of a rail system, and like on the left-hand side, right-hand side is this straight, long, flat concrete slab. And it had like a rail deal hooked up to it with a cable, I think. And then on the left side, there's like big steps going down. And they would walk down the steps, I guess, guiding these trays with the bodies on them down to the bottom where the hearse would pick them up or whatever. And I also heard that one of the orderlies that was taking a body down got his arm caught in that pulley system somehow, and it tore his arm off. That's just, I don't know where, I remember reading that somewhere, but there's a lot of crazy stuff happening there.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It'd be a good place to investigate for sure.
Well, me and him was there for 8 hours, and we were on all four of the main floors, and then the top floor is a little smaller, but it's like 2 rooms in the center, I guess, where the elevator would have came up. Of course, the elevators, you couldn't use them. We had to go. Okay, we had to go on the stairs. We got to take a break, y'all. We're live on WCJV Digital Broadcasting out of Youngstown, New York. We'll be back here in a minute or two. Don't go away.
You are listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, New York.
Hello, everybody. We're back. We were chatting a little bit backstage there about Waverly Hills and the Death Tunnel and the Booth Brothers and the movie and all that. I was actually in, and of course, I don't remember if they used the whole building when they done that movie or not, but out on when you go up to the 5th floor and you go, when you come up the stairs, you're in like the main lobby room there, right? When you come up there, and there's a room to your left and a room to your right. The one to the right was where they kept the less easier to deal with patients, so to speak. The room on the right is where they kept the mentally challenged and dangerous patients. The room on the right is where out on the roof they had the swing sets and stuff where the kids would play, and yes, there were kids there. We were out there, of course. Do you remember I don't know if you watched the episode of Ghost Hunters where they were there?
3 of them.
Okay. They were in that room on the right where I was and where the woman hung herself, supposedly, and all that. Of course, when they were there, the windows were broke out. You know, on both sides of that room, it's all windows all the way down. And they were broken out and everything, which they're not now. They replaced them. But anyway, yeah, I was there, and of course, where Steve claimed that something, I guess, rubbed up against his leg and all that stuff, and nothing didn't rub up against my leg. But anyway, we were there. I was out on the roof where the kids would play at and all that stuff, and it's really interesting. You know, not just on a paranormal aspect, but also on a historical aspect because of all the stuff that did go on there. And
Medical history alone, yeah.
Yes, and if you go out to the left side, that's where they kept the mentally challenged and severely mental dangerous people at. And if you walk out there, you can literally feel the energy out there. It just don't feel right. But I didn't get, unfortunately, any EVPs out there. I did, like I said, right there where the woman was supposed to have hung herself. I got that one. But, and of course, the Booth Brothers, I remember in the movie, you know, the death tunnel part. And I remember the part where I think they were on the 4th floor at the end, where that's where they were supposed to have escaped from, was the fire escape on the end there of the building, which I didn't see a fire escape. You know, you go to the end of the building, it's the end of the building. You ain't going nowhere unless you go back and find a stairway. But that's what I remember in the movie was them going out on a fire escape, or him, that one guy, going out on a fire escape and just trying to escape the building by the fire escape. But okay, I've rambled on enough. Let's get somebody else in here to say something.
Oh, you mean now I can say something? No, I'm kidding.
Not you, Hank. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I do. I'm poking around Nate and Kaylee. Got that right for a change. Poking around their website, and I'm looking here at your 2014 investigations, and I'm noticing Ken Smith Graves, Civil War.
Yes.
Without getting into a whole lot, what was it like there? What kind of EVPs did you get there?
We had a couple voices that we got on audio, and they were actually so faint. But we had one of a guy saying no. If I remember right, I asked some sort of a question. Are you hurt? And then you hear a faint no in reply. And then there's just some other strange sounds that we caught. And then also there was one that said, "Not me." And it was in a guy's voice, but it was it's faint. I mean, you need headphones to hear it, but they're not too bad. So, I mean, that's all we actually caught in audio-wise on that location.
I mean, and the reason I bring this up is that here we have the Washington State Soldier Cemetery, and we do a lot of work there, and we get a lot of EVPs there from hey, the guys are back to clumsy. Basically, it was someone's sense of humor when I tripped over a molehill.
Really?
Oh yeah. And I was wondering if they were now. Is that the first time or the only time you had been out there, or?
That was the only time, first and only. We haven't been back there not since. We have a few other places. I mean, there's a lot that you haven't seen on the website that we haven't listed. I mean, there's probably another 30 investigations that aren't listed just for this year that we've done already.
I mean, being that my group is mostly veterans, or we're trying to rework into being mostly veterans, we kind of made the Soldier Cemetery our home, if you will. Have you created, have you made a home anywhere, sort of thing? A place that you favor for one reason or another?
Actually, yeah. A current residence that's actually in a local town. It's in Gretna, Nebraska. And the homeowners actually are moving out due to the activity there. And they've pretty much gave us full run of their house anytime because of the activity. And we've been there 5 times now, and every time we've been there, we've got photos of an apparition or things moving, faucets turning on, and different things. And I mean, we've even sold tickets for people to come on investigations with us at this location and investigate with us for like 8 hours. And they were all in shock. Some skeptics are now believers, and that's kind of my favorite place, or I guess our home base, you would say.
It's so much fun watching the conversion of skeptics.
It is. It is.
Don't mind me. I'm also trying to post your links here from that we've been posting your web page, your Facebook link, and I get lost in that sometimes.
Well, I don't know if you follow me on Twitter or not. Do you have a Twitter account?
I don't, but for those that do, go ahead.
Oh, it's at Ghost Hunters NEB for Nebraska, NEB.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
November Echo Bravo. NEB. Okay.
Yeah, at Ghost Hunters NEB. Yep.
Okay. So for all of you that have a Twitter account, there it is. And while we're at it, don't forget to vote. We've been posting that link also at Vote For Us at www.talkstreamlive.com. Just go ahead when you're in the site, click on CJ Mars, and it will take you to the page where you just go ahead and put in whoever's talking or basically put in the show, and that counts for a vote.
Well, it's not letting me do it.
Oh, sure. Now you chime in on that.
Well, this is the first time it's not letting me do it. I don't understand why it's not letting me do it.
Maybe because you've done it too much already?
It says an unexpected error has occurred.
Oh well, you aren't feeding the chipmunks well enough then.
I guess.
Huh.
But it's refusing to let me vote.
Do you have a psychic medium on your team, or have you had one? Nate?
No. I mean, we don't have any, like, psychics or anything like that, but, I mean, we have people that are more, I guess, more sensitive. So, I mean, if you want to count that as, like, an empath would be the better word for it.
No. A psychic medium. We're not talking about someone like a medium that a spirit comes in and takes over, like for channeling or a medium.
No.
A psychic medium is one who is able to see that entity and either converse with it either by literal words or, in some cases, imagery. You're seeing what they're trying to tell you.
No, we don't have anybody on our team.
That's that way.
Right.
And like we discussed earlier, psychics are a level. I mean, sensitives are a level of psychic.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I just thought that's what you were meant by it. But I guess an actual psychic like that, then no, there's nobody on our team that's like that or has that capability.
You got anything, Roger?
Oops, please sign in. This is crazy. I click on the remember me button in here, but it don't remember me. And even though I never close the page, it makes me sign in again. So where are you going to be at your next investigation? You said you were going back tonight, or?
No, we don't have one tonight. We actually we went to one today and just did some kind of scoping and checking out beforehand. But we have, I guess our next one coming up is actually a city hall.
Wow.
So
what's going on in City Hall?
Things moving, doors opening and closing, actually seeing apparitions, to voices, things being thrown, footsteps, all kinds of different things. And there used to be a police department at one time, and then also a doctor's office at one point, and then now it turned into a city hall. So
that's wild. We had they tore the house down, but the next town over from me, there was a big old house that sat right across from the main highway there. It was a funeral home, a restaurant, something else I can't remember now. I think it was a restaurant twice. And I'm sitting here thinking, and I probably would, because I have that kind of frame of mind. I'd go in there and eat just because it used to be a funeral home. But, your average Joe person, if they knew it was a funeral home, they're sitting there eating, somebody said, you're eating at a funeral home, they'd probably be like, get up and run out, leave the plate and everything. But yeah, it was a funeral home, it was a restaurant twice, and some other kind of shop in there. And it was a big old 2-story job. Old, I could tell it was probably, I bet that house was at least 200 years old. And they finally, and it wasn't dilapidated, they just tore it down. I don't know why, but places like that are just interesting to me.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I got a couple questions. I got one from Johnny first, and then I've got one from Dita. Okay, so Johnny asks, would you use evidence from a ghost box session to present to a client?
Yeah, and we have. We've actually used it on a local house that we did in Osmond, Nebraska, and we actually had some really good evidence come through, and we provided that to them, and which we demonstrated beforehand to show how it worked and whatnot, just so that way they knew that when the files that we were playing is what they were actually hearing is an entity or spirit trying to come through and talk with us.
Johnny asks, he's got a couple of questions actually. What type of snacks do you pack for your investigations? And stomach growling can be bad during EVP session.
Yes.
Yes. We always have plenty of snacks. We pack a cooler with lots of drinks in it. Energy drinks for me for sure.
Pop and
pop, water,
chips, all kind of stuff. So that way,
chips, crackers, sandwiches. We always make sure we have.
and we always make sure we eat before we go on an investigation, because it's not fun to be sitting in a room where it's quiet and all of a sudden you hear what sounds like the loudest growl in the world. Especially when you go back to listen to it on audio, and if you don't document it, you're like, what was that?
Well,
So,
and if you had a claim of a demon being in the place and everything, and you're all of a sudden you're it'd be like, I heard him, he's here. CJ says she's hungry now. We done made her hungry.
Well, don't forget, Dita had a question.
Okay.
I gotta scroll that. I gotta scroll back up. I was trying to get up there, and something really went absolutely haywire. In fact, that would be organized chaos compared to what I was going through, and I ended up getting knocked out of the chat room. Anyway,
okay.
She's wanting to know: is there anything that they do different than any other paranormal team? TAPS, GAC Boys, Everyday Paranormal. Rah, rah, sis, boom, bah.
yeah, we do. Our investigations and how we do them is something that's never been seen, like on TV, because, and I mean, I don't know how other teams out there do it, because, I couldn't tell you what a team in Florida does, because I don't, I guess I don't really see some of their work, to be honest. But where, like, between Ghost Adventures and, all the other teams like TAPS and all them.
That's what she's getting at, yes.
Yeah, we do stuff different than they do. And, I mean, I can't really go into a lot of detail, because that's one of the reasons why it's giving us our shot on TV. So I can't give away a whole lot, but I think one of the good things about it is I guess we just investigate. I mean, we use all the top-of-the-line equipment, and our way of investigating, different, and also some of the locations are totally different.
Okay.
Now,
if that makes sense, I can't. I know it's tough because I can't really give a whole lot of.
No. I understand that. I understand that. Roger and I have discussed, because we have posted that we are on paranormal teams that we've created. We've had a few, I don't want to say networks, but someone claiming to be producers. And I told them, Roger and I told them, I mean, basically straight up, we won't fake evidence.
Right.
Yeah, that's
okay.
That's one thing we won't do, is we won't fake anything. It's
and
either the real
and we don't do it for excitement either,
Yeah, I mean, it's either the real stuff, and if the network don't like it, then I guess the network's not worth my time.
See, that's one of the things with Ghost Hunters that I used to love that show. and it got to a point to where they had sold out.
Yeah.
And I mean, big time with all the commercials and all the. Next thing you know, they're driving 4 or 5 nice, shiny new black vehicles. They got an office uptown. They bought an inn. You know, I mean, and where it used to be, they would go to like people who would call, like this case we got coming up, where people have kids that were scared and whatnot, and they'd go to their house. Now they don't do that anymore. They only go to famous known places. You know.
Right.
Where, yeah, and I remember Jason saying way back when I first started watching this show that that's the reason he turned them down the first time, because he didn't want them controlling how he did his investigations and what he did during his investigations and all that stuff. Now, we're used to they would debunk everything and they'd hardly ever get anything. Now they don't debunk hardly anything, and they get a bunch of stuff.
And if they get something, then they leave.
Yeah.
There's something, something paranormal happens, and it's like okay, we're done here. Let's wrap it up.
Right. It's time to wrap it up, y'all.
Let's see more.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing, too, I was going to say, if we go to a place and honestly, if nothing happens, we get no evidence, the episode's kind of boring, then that episode, nothing really happened. We don't make anything happen. We don't try to create anything extra. And, we love going to the big, well-known places just as much as everyone else, but we want to go to the places off the map that no one else has been to. That's what people want to see, not the same places over and over.
Right.
All I can see is Bravo. All I can see is Bravo.
Yeah, I gotta give y'all kudos for that one.
Thanks.
Yeah, Toby's asking, and I'm just double checking. So they do try and debunk their own evidence.
Oh yeah. We go through, like if we catch something on a photo, we go through to make sure it's nothing on the lens, or maybe a reflection off something, or even on video or audio. I mean, we go back through several times and try and recreate it, and if we can't, then it's obviously something paranormal.
We even try to recreate noises we hear.
Yeah.
Try to figure out where it's coming from. We'll slam, a chair up against the wall. Not slam it, but,
right.
we'll shove
Right.
the wall. Shove a chair into a desk. Is this what it sounded like? Okay, you go over there and do this, and we'll stand here and tell you if it sounds the same, that type of thing.
Or for an example, like one case, the homeowner said that every morning between 2 and 2:30, her bedroom door would slam shut. Well, it just so happens that at that time is when her furnace or air conditioner would kick on, and the vent, through hours leading up to 2 a.m., the door would creak shut a little bit at a time. So basically by 2:15, when it kicks on, that door actually slams shut due to the air movement from the furnace. So it's nothing paranormal. So, I mean, we were able to disprove a lot as well.
It's just, to me, I'm probably, and Hank I'm sure is the same way, and y'all I'm sure are the same way. I'm harder on my own evidence than I ever was on anybody else's. Because if I get something, I'll go over it 30, 40 times, listening to an EVP just to get one little syllable right.
Or like your lady in red?
Yeah, exactly. That picture, and I've had people try to tear that picture apart. I have a picture that I got, or a buddy of mine took at a cemetery we were at, way out in the sticks. And outside, there's a barbed wire fence that runs through behind this little, it used to be like a family plot. It had the wrought iron fence around it and everything, which is trampled all down now. But we were just taking pictures, off here, there, and yonder, but we always look ahead before we take the picture. If you see something, you want to take a picture, of course, but to see what is and ain't there. And we had just looked out across this little field toward the woods right there, and there was nothing there, and he took a picture, and there's a lady in red floating in the air outside of the fence. And people's trying to say, well, it's a camera blur. Well, it's not, because The barbed wire fence isn't blurred. The limb sticking up from the ground isn't blurred. The little pine tree that's growing there next to it isn't blurred. Why would that be the only thing blurred in the whole picture? So, yeah, we did try to figure out, well, what could it be, or could it be anything else possible, but we haven't figured anything out yet. And, yeah, I went over that picture and I blew it up, shrunk it down, blew it up, shrunk it down, tried to find anything I could find to say it wasn't what I thought it was. And Hank saw the picture. CJ saw the picture.
And Dita had posted it on her blog, The Daily, and she's seen it. When you can actually count the number of barbs in the barbed wire, and the barbed wire's not moving, what can I say? You've got a grail. You've got one of the holy grails.
That's the only picture that we ever got of something that we can't debunk that actually looks like a full floating apparition. And like I said, most everybody that's seen it, came to the same conclusion we did. There's no blur, there's no nothing there. It's just there.
Roger,
I've had one person try to tear it down.
I can post that on Facebook for you, can I?
I think I've got it on Facebook. Actually,
I've got friends that are not connected to you
go
on
ahead.
Facebook.
Want to.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I'll do that
and
later.
You guys are welcome to look at it if you go to Half Past Dead Paranormal Investigations on Facebook. I believe I have that picture in there.
And like his page.
Well, you can do that if you want, but I believe that picture's on there. And, I mean, if you guys can find something that we missed, by all means, let me know. Okay, we're live on WCJV Digital Broadcasting out of Youngstown, New York. We're going to take a little break. We'll be right back. Don't anybody go nowhere.
You are listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, New York.
Something. Okay, we're back, folks. Rambling on again. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there because debunking is very important, and we tried, and we couldn't debunk that one, so it is what it is. Or until somebody shows me that it ain't what it is.
Good luck.
Do you guys, when you're debunking like a photograph, what kind of test do you do, or how do you go about proving that it is what you think it is?
Well, I mean, we basically kind of the same thing you do, to be honest. We go running through some different photo, like Lightroom, like Adobe Lightroom. It's like a professional photo software. And also we have some couple people that work with us that do professional photography as well. But lighten the photo, darken it, zoom in, clear the pixels, so that way when you zoom in it's clear, not fuzzy. I mean, there's pretty much basically all the same things you guys are doing.
Adjust the gamma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do the same thing.
Well, now
I'm loving this. I really am. Oh, question. What kind of cameras do you use? Nikon or what?
We have a Canon. It's the T5i Rebel.
What type of audio recorders do you use? I mean, naturally digital, but is there a particular type that you use?
Actually, it's just a basic Sony. I guess it's just a Sony digital recorder. I mean, we have several of them, several different ones. We even have a couple RCA. I mean, there's a few cheaper ones as well, but nothing too crazy on audio-wise.
The expensive is not really any better than the inexpensive. It serves the same function. It functions the same way. It records the same way.
Exactly, and honestly, the audio that I use, I didn't pay any more than $75 for, and it records in super high quality. I mean, it's digital, it's crystal clear, and I mean, it does the same thing as the $400 ones that are out there.
Does anybody still use magnetic tape recorders?
I don't know.
actually, now you talking about for EVP recording or the video recorder?
On the Johnny's asking basically on the audio recording.
I used one today, matter of fact.
No, you did?
Yes, I did.
Not necessarily better. You still have the motor noise.
That
unless you have an external mic.
The motor noise, actually, when it's recording, creates almost like a white noise. And I've gotten more and better EVPs actually on that little analog recorder than I have on my digital.
And these are cassettes, right?
Yep, the little mini cassettes, like go in an answering machine.
That answers Laura's question. Now, are you using the micro cassettes or the full size cassettes?
No, the little mini ones.
The mini ones. Okay.
Like the same ones like you use in an answering machine, the little tapes.
We didn't mean to take this away.
Long.
We didn't mean to take this away from you, Nate.
No.
Oh, that's okay.
But yeah, I do use mine, and actually, Nate, I have two Sony night shot cameras, and that's what I use. And we have a DVR system, of course, but I use the Sony night shot with a 5 LED booster light that I use with it, and it actually works pretty good. It's the mini DVD type.
Oh, well, the one we use for filming, I guess ours is it's the professional grade. But before that, we used just kind of one. Well, it was kind of like a little handheld IR one that had the built-in night vision, and you needed a little tiny, like a small flashlight would have worked with it. But the ones we use now for filming is what all the TV networks use, and with just a little light, which actually half the time we don't even need the light because it has such a good built-in IR for the night and stuff that we don't need the attachment. But
well, mine actually works pretty good with the booster light. That it's our booster light that I bought for it, and with the not built-in night shot and that together, it actually works pretty good. Now, I know there's better out there, and I'd love to have them, but Mr. Finance said no.
That's the bad thing about it, is everything's so expensive.
Exactly. And see, that's another thing in the paranormal field, and a lot of people don't pay heed to, but people like me and Hank who are, I'm a fixed income person, and they know that people will pay ridiculous amounts of money for this equipment because they want to get into ghost hunting and be, a paranormal investigator. So they've got prices on stuff jacked up so high it's ridiculous.
And I've been coaxing people, cheap is good to start with. There's nothing wrong with it. I have an interesting question again for you. Laura has asked, has anyone ever done a DVR/ITC television loop equipment? Do you understand what she's asking?
Yeah, basically it was like I think she's asking about whether the cameras, it's almost like a CCTV system where you can basically control them and they can move. I believe that's what she's thinking. But we have, I guess, just a standard DVR system where the cameras are fixed. Wherever we put them, they film that area. That's it.
Right, that's what we have.
That's the easiest. Now, Johnny's also asking, have you built any of your own equipment?
No, that's one thing that we haven't done. I guess we've just used kind of all the equipment that's been out there and some of the newer stuff that comes out. Usually when it first comes out, we get it. We're one of the teams that kind of pay the price, or sometimes depends on the equipment. If I know, like for example, like when the millimeter with shadow detection first came out, that thing was like $300 and some, like $349, I think. I didn't get that right away. I mean, I waited several months and then got it after the rush of everybody wanting to get it, so it was half the price.
You wait for prices to come down.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait for the prices to come down before you buy.
Actually. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, but otherwise, usually I don't make any of the equipment that we use.
I have built a couple of the little EM pumps, and they do actually work. They probably don't put out a lot, but if you set it down and turn it on, you can put a K2 up to it without the motor running in it, and it'll light up one light on it. If you turn that thing on where that motor's running, it'll max out the K2. Now, I don't know how much that's putting out per se into an area, but they do actually work.
To be honest, I've never used one of them before on an investigation. I know it sounds crazy, but I haven't.
Well, and those things, I mean, they're not very big, and they're really basic. I mean, building one of them took me, and that was the first one that I'd done, the first one probably took me an hour. The second one, which turned out better because I'd already done the one, probably didn't take me but about 40 minutes, maybe tops.
Experience.
And how'd you build them? What'd you use? Just like a kit, or?
No. The only thing that I bought was the little case that everything was put in.
Oh, I see.
And it uses a rare earth magnet, a half-inch round rare earth magnet, which I had to buy. And it uses like a little motor, like I have a CD tray or anything like that. And then the little toggle switch that turns it off and on. It's really basic. And I mean, you could build one with, you don't have to have electronic genius or anything like that, because I don't have. And I built that one. The first one worked. It was a little bit clumsy, but it worked. The second one was a whole lot better, and it worked good. And it's just, use hot glue and the rare earth magnet and a little motor and a toggle switch.
Roger,
Yes.
I've got a question for you.
Okay.
They're wanting to know what is a rare earth magnet.
A rare earth magnet is okay. Not like the. It looks like a piece of steel, basically. I've got two of them right here. If I could show them, I would. Well, they were right there. Uh, it looks like a steel slug or something. It's about maybe a quarter of an inch thick by a half inch around. And you can look those up. They have them on eBay, Amazon, all the places like that. You can get them. Different shapes actually too, and thickness too probably. But for that particular design, that's what I used. I've got two more of them running around here somewhere because I bought them in a pack of 4 and I built those two and I had the two magnets left. But and they're really strong. Okay, like if you took the brown type magnets that you normally see, blackish brown, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And you stuck it to a piece of metal, it's going to stick to it, but it's not that hard to pull it away. I could take that little bitty half-inch rare earth magnet and stick it to that same piece of metal, and it takes some work to pull that sucker off of there. That's how strong they are. So that's to me, that would be the difference in them is the strength of them, and the fact that they look more like metal than they do a magnet, look like a piece of steel. They're silver. The ones I got are silver. They're polished silver. They look like just a piece of steel.
Laura's posted a Wikipedia site on rare earth magnets. Prices range from $250 and upwards to $800. Go.
Right. I think I paid $278 or $378 for those 4 that I got. You can look and find them in different price ranges, but
yes, yours for shipping and handling. Yes. Oh.
And I got free shipping, so yeah. It was like about $378, I think almost $4, so almost $1 a piece. And you can go on YouTube and you can get the how to build that EM pump right there off of YouTube. YouTube video, that's where I got it.
Major coolness. There's a lot of equipment you can make thanks to those tech heads on YouTube.
Right.
Nate, Kaylee, what was it like over there at Ashland for when you were there at the Strategic Air and Space Museum?
It was pretty active. It was really interesting. There was a couple cases of footsteps, people walking behind us, where you could clearly hear them walking up the stairs behind our group, and yet everyone was up the stairs. No one was behind us. Couple EVPs, a lot of what am I trying to say? A lot of reoccurring. Residual. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. A lot of residual hauntings there, I think, just with all the history of everything there. It wasn't a certain time with a lot of it that you could call out and ask questions. It was more residual, where it just would happen repeating over and over, from what I thought.
Yeah, I love those history loops. I use in finger air quotations. I love those. Speaking of, in percentage, residual to intelligent hauntings, how are you finding that? How many are you finding of those in your overall investigations?
Well, honestly, from 2008 till current, I would say probably 60, maybe 65% is, I would believe, be intelligent, just because they interact with you They move stuff on command. They've done, they've basically done everything you've asked. I mean, you could knock on the wall and ask to repeat it, and you'll hear it. I mean, they've thrown things, they've moved things when you ask them to. So, I mean, there's other ones that we've been to where it's just like a tape player, and it'll just play itself over and over on a certain date and time. And so, I mean, that's kind of my percentage on it anyway.
Kelly, do you see it any other way, or do you see it the same?
I see it about the same. I've seen a lot more intelligent hauntings than I have. I haven't been on the team, as long as Nate's had it. I've been on about 9 months now. And I've only seen the reoccurring tape player of the hauntings that will just kind of replay themselves in history. I've seen where people actually get taken back and almost like they're seeing it happen in front of them. But most of the investigations I've been on have been actual intelligent hauntings, disembodied voices, and answering on command. So those are really cool to be on.
Now, I'm going to ask an interesting question, and I have to admit I'm going to be showing my ignorance because I'm not familiar with this term. Are you familiar? I got a question from Johnny. Are you familiar with the Singapore theory, playing music from certain time periods? And has it worked? Has it worked in attracting any activity? Now, for me, I would understand that as an era cue, like when you would be going out on an investigation, you'd be firing muskets, you'd be dressed in whatever era that they're talking about.
Right.
And if you're familiar with the Singapore theory, could you expound on it, please?
Me personally, I'm not familiar with that phrase. I guess we have actually used time era music on a local residence we were in just because the homeowners actually stayed on that investigation with us. And we were told that the lady that used to live there, that they had actually seen a figure in the outline of this lady go back and forth from room to room, and she liked a certain type of music and a certain big band that played back in the day, and one of the investigators at the time actually downloaded it and played it, and we got a lot of feedback at the time as far as answers on EVPs, but that's the only time I've ever had anything like that happen. I don't know about you, Nate.
I mean, that's the only time I've ever really had anything like that happen. It was the same experience that Kaylee had as well.
Now, I've heard of people using like orb charts. Do you guys have like a chart that you go by to say this is an orb, this ain't an orb, whatever? Like the blue or red or orange or,
Yeah, we keep that in mind during an investigation, but what we look for are the ones that are solid. You can't see through them. They put off their own glow. So basically, like, outside of the orb itself, it basically has that extended ring, and it's glowing whatever color. And also the way it's moving, the flight pattern. Because, bugs and dust and pollen and all that move a certain way. And so we're very picky on what we choose to say an orb is, if it's something paranormal or not.
Now, I asked that because my partner had sent me a picture and wanted me to look at it, and it was a picture actually of two kids playing, and this one kid, they're both, really little, and this one kind of crawls away from the other one, and he has this little book, and he goes over there a little ways away, and he gets the little car, and he sits it down on the book, and then he's sitting up, and it looks like this thing comes right out of his chest. and then shoots up into the air.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and that's the only thing that I have not been able to debunk and say, no, that's not an orb, because it looked like it literally came out of his chest and then shot straight up.
Wow.
And it was not see-through, it was solid. And
See, those are the ones that are interesting. Those are the ones that were like, just like what you have there. I mean, you tried to run it different ways and trying to disprove it.
exactly. And you can't. I mean, it looked like it come right out of his body.
Yeah, those are the good ones.
It's not like it came over his shoulder, landed on his shirt, and then flew up. No, it came out of his clothes. It came out of his, like it came literally out of his body.
That'd be like a grail.
And it shot straight up. It didn't go out and curve around and all this. I mean, it came out and it went straight up. And fortunately, these people had a video camera running at the time, and it caught that.
Wow, that's a good catch then.
I've never seen one do that.
I don't think I've ever seen one do that before either. I mean, I've seen some pretty crazy ones, but nothing like that.
And what was I supposed to say? You know, and of course he knows how I feel about orbs. You know, I have a philosophy, and I don't think me and Hank see eye to eye on this one, but I always said that when an orb floated up to my face and said, "Hey, Raj, I'm an orb entity," then I would write it down as evidence. But that one I could not disregard.
Here's your sign.
I mean, there's no way.
Here's your sign.
Yeah, okay. Bite me, Hank.
With or without relish?
Sweet pickle relish.
Cool.
But anyway, I just
go
wanted, I wanted to ask, did y'all have something you went by? Because I had looked at a chart recently before he sent me this picture, and it reminded me of one of them that was on this chart. It was like a, not an orange, like a bright yellow. And it was, and most people will tell you an orb is not solid round, not perfectly round. But this thing, it was round, but it had like a tail like a comet. When it shot up, it had like this tail coming off of it.
Tails are good.
And I'm like, wow.
Unless you're photographing rain.
Yeah. But I'd never seen one like that. You know, that was my first that I actually could not dismiss. And I've seen a lot of them that I was able to dismiss, you know. So I'm like, well, I gotta tell Hank and all the rest of them I can't go by that float up to my face and say hi thing no more.
La, 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 la. Yes, I know. 10,000 comedians out of work, and I'm over here trying to be funny with you. Yes, I know.
Well, you saved me from having to waste all that energy.
We're
Okay.
old. We deserve to work out. Yes?
We
Okay.
actually have a lot of people that'll contact us, and dust is so hugely mistaken for orbs. And I mean, we've had people just sinking dust right and left in front of us before.
Yes, and moisture beads on the camera lens and all this kind of stuff, you know. And they'll give you that, well, you weren't there, I was there, I know what I saw routine.
Right.
Okay, anyways, folks, we got about 3 minutes left, so if y'all want to put your links up or, give your links out, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, tripparanormal.com, and also check out tripparanormalproductions.com, and follow us on Facebook at Trip Para, Or also, we have a like page too, which is Tri-City Research and Investigation of the Paranormal. And also...
Don't forget your Twitter.
Yeah,
our
get your Twitter.
It's at Ghost Hunters NEB.
About Trip Paranormal Productions.
And on Trip Paranormal Productions, you'll be able to see, our upcoming episodes that you actually get to see before it goes to the television network. Plus
awesome.
The network's allowing us to release them out there beforehand. And we battled with the network to allow us to, because they wanted to charge like $50 for a membership, but we got it all the way down to $6, which is awesome. Because, I personally, I don't see even charging that, but...
It's a sneak peek until you have to wait a year, to see everything before it goes on the network. This way you get trailers, you get chat rooms, and then you get to see 2 to 3 episodes per month a year before they're aired on TV, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, we do about 5 to 10 investigations usually within a month's time. So there's always new content being added.
I was going to say something that now that you mentioned that, I was on your Facebook page, if I'm not mistaken. I went to a link, and it said something about our investigations or something. I clicked on it, and it took me to this page that said pay $6 to watch the videos.
Yep, that's the Trip Paranormal Productions. That's the one you get to watch before.
Okay, then I went to that link yesterday and clicked on it, and it said that it had been removed by the poster.
What?
It said that it had been deleted by the owner or whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
On Facebook?
When I clicked on the link on your Facebook page, it redirects you to another place on the web or whatever. Speaker, that's what it was. And it said that it had been deleted by the owner.
Oh, the Spreaker.
Yes.
We do also the Spreaker deal. We have a little talk thing that we do also, just kind of talks about our investigations and everything else, a little talk show.
But I was wondering why it had been deleted.
I don't know. That's interesting. It should be... I don't know. I'll have to check that out and look into that. Because I did get an email today that said something about our website being, our Facebook being unhooked from that.
I don't know. Okay, folks, it's time to wrap it up. We do appreciate you guys being here. It was a great show.
Yeah, thank you very much
for having us.
Y'all were awesome.
We appreciate you being here.
Right at the present moment, usually I would announce next week's show, but at the present moment, I don't know who that's going to be yet. But I promise you it'll be somebody, and it'll be good. So we will see all you guys next Monday night. Same bat channel, same bat time.
It's same bat time, same
and
bat
remember,
channel.
if you can't be normal,
be paranormal.
Right on, bro.
You are listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, New York.
They have passed the